Hello. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And it's time for another movie review. Today, we're going to be reviewing Plane. This one I saw when it came out. I'm very, very late on the review. I'm trying to catch up on all my movie reviews today. But this movie, I thought, looked kind of like a generic action movie with Gerard Butler. I figured it would pass the time. It would be okay, but I didn't think it would be anything special. But I didn't think it would be anything terrible. If you told me it was either great or terrible, I'd probably say, well, it's probably terrible then, because I doubt it's going to be great. Actually, it was just that. I really enjoyed this movie. Surprisingly solid, surprisingly original, and just very well executed in my opinion. One of the reasons I wanted to see this because I knew there was going to be some kind of a crash scene, because this is what it's about. It's about a commercial flight that crashes or has to make a crash landing in an area that is not somewhere you want to be. It's a hostile area with hostile locals who are going to F you up. And that's a cool concept right there. But I really wanted to see the crash because I love those kind of movies. Like you go back to Flight with Denzel Washington and there's the scenes where, you know, the plane is having big issues. He's going to have to try to land this thing somehow. And it's just really exciting. Not a situation I'd ever want to be in, but exciting to watch as a viewer. And I thought this one was so well done. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat right here. Yes, I knew they were going to survive the landing, or at least most of them were. I didn't know if everyone would, though. I didn't know how bad the landing was going to be. You know, I mean, it was just exciting, though, to see how the pilot would handle this. I'm kind of into, I watch a lot of like YouTube channels by pilots where they talk about, you know, how things work. It's really something fascinating to me, even though I personally am not in the industry, never flown a plane or never even took any steps towards flying a plane myself, but I'm just fascinated and interested in it. I'm that way about a lot of things. Like I won't actually do it myself, but I'll read about that shit. And I like how the movie threw a little extra wrench into things with this prisoner who is also on the plane. He's in handcuffs. He's being accompanied by a law enforcement agent, and it's just realistic enough. I don't know if this actually happens, but you would imagine, you know, needing to transport people all over the place. Sometimes you have to jump on commercial flights. So I would think that this is something that could happen and probably has at some point in some way where a prisoner has to be transported. Now, in this case, this is like a murderer. This is like a serious threat right here. At least it's a scary situation with having him on the plane. But again, he's in handcuffs and you got the law enforcement guy with his weapon and everything there. But it does throw just a little extra wrench into things. Like I said, like how's this going to come into play? It's going to come into play some way. So it's really interesting right there. And I like how they threw that in there as well. The crash landing, absolutely spectacular. Whether everyone survives or not, you're going to have to check it out. But it creates just obviously, for obvious reasons, just an insane situation where those who are on the ground have to find a way. First, you know, they're happy they're alive, but some people are arguing and bitching. People are very much realistic. You're going to have the loudmouths. You're going to have the quiet, reserved people. You're going to have the people who just say want to help and do whatever they can. You're going to have the common sense people who appreciate, hey, man, this guy landed the plane. I don't know what went wrong, whether it was his fault or not. I don't know what went wrong, but hey, we're alive. And you're going to have the assholes who are yelling, you motherfucker, making a big deal. It's so just as, it's a different array of people, different types of people that feel very much natural. And just absolutely love that about it, that it just feels so real. Can completely lose yourself in this movie. And sure enough, there are places in the world, of course, that are going to have locals who are going to be a threat. And this is where they land, in some part of the Philippines. And I like to actually mention where they're at. It's not like Top Gun 2, which I love, Top Gun Maverick, but this country that they never specifically name. Who the heck is this and where is this? Russia? Who are they at war with here? They never say. It's just the enemy. But anyway, here we know where they're at. Everything feels very much realistic. The acting is all great. And what happens from there, those who are still on this island, the rebels who have taken over the entire island, there's no government, there's nothing. This is just a free-for-all place right now. And they find them, they get word that they're there, and sure enough, this is where things go crazy. And from there, it's just really exciting. They have to find a way. The main guy here, Brody, needs to find a way to get word out. So he's exploring, he's trying, and he has the help of somebody else who is part of the crew, the whole part of that flight. And the whole way things go down is just really exciting. And I love how, the possible ways to get off this island, how that comes to at the end. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it is absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. This movie left me like, holy shit. That movie was so much better than I expected. You talk about, exceeding expectations. This movie exceeded expectations more than almost any movie I can remember. I'm not saying it's one of the best movies I've ever seen, but I'm saying as far as expectations compared to what I got, very, very amazing. So absolutely loved Plane. The final scenes, the final act was just as thrilling as the first few scenes. And everything in the middle is awesome. And this movie, I never took my eyes off the screen for a second on this one. Plane was surprisingly awesome. I would say, in my opinion, this is one that I will definitely be owning this one. It may be already out on Blu-ray. I'm not sure how far behind I am on these reviews, but definitely at some point I'll be owning this movie Plane, and it's definitely going to be a rewatch in the near future. So I would highly recommend this one. It may still be in theaters. I'm not exactly sure, but Plane was freaking awesome. Do not miss this freaking movie. And I haven't really said any negatives. Like, I thought the movie was also funny, but they didn't try to be funny all the time. The humor was only placed in a few moments here and there, and it almost always worked. That's what I love about it. It's not a comedy. Stop trying to make me laugh if it's not a comedy. Stop being jokey all the time if it's not a comedy. If it's a comedy, okay, then succeed in making me laugh at least. And this one didn't have a lot of humor, but the humor it did have seemed to work really well. It was actually pretty funny. I mean, I laughed out loud more in this one than I do in most genuine comedies these days. So really, I don't have any negatives for it. I mean, other than, I guess, just the overall plot. I mean, it is an action movie with a plane crashing and, guns going off. I mean, I guess you could say sometimes it could be a little outlandish. It's quite, yeah, sure. The scenario is pretty unlikely, but unlikely things do happen. And any movie's got to be unlikely. Otherwise, you're going to just see a guy waking up and brushing his teeth and going to work and then clocking out and coming back home. I mean, that's the most boring movie of all time. So any movie's got to be somewhat unlikely. It just has to be plausible. And I found this overall, as unlikely as it is, pretty plausible. And that made it all the more exciting. So I really don't have any big negatives for it, to be honest. Freaking awesome movie, dude. Plane, check it out. Please hit the subscribe. You have a great day, and we'll talk to y'all next time.